Hello, hello, hello. It's time once again to enlighten all my listeners and YouTube watchers out there. This is the Midnight Skeptic. And what I'm recording right now will be downloaded to the radio station, later on tonight. But it's not going to be broadcast until this Sunday, 9/22 at the usual time, 9 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. And right now I'm recording this on Thursday, 9/19 of the year of our skeptic, 2024. Kamala Harris and Tim Walz are maintaining their momentum. Yay! Oh boy, I'm very, very, very optimistic and, dare I say, joyful about the prospects for this coming November election. I don't have any illusions about the orange sociopathic bloat bag just fading away. He will deny that he lost. His followers will try to infiltrate election offices in the various states, and they're going to try to deny in any way that they can. But there's fewer and fewer of them. But depending on how hard they try, the followers and worshippers of the orange sociopathic bloat bag have infiltrated their workers to try to disrupt and change the outcome of the election. Well, it won't happen. Kamala Harris will be our new president after January 20th of 2025, and Tim Walz will be our new vice president. And hopefully, Trump will, it may take a year, maybe take 2 years even, for him to just fade away. And his MAGA followers hopefully will fade away also, down to Mar-a-Lago. Maybe he can hire the Proud Boys as his golf course, caddies or security personnel or whatever. Okay? And then we can be free of all this nonsense about teachers grooming kids or colleges and high schools teaching CRT and teach honest history about our country, warts and all. We need to have an honest history curriculum about the United States and the world also. So anyway, here's my play-in music. You are listening to KPCA LP, Petaluma, California, at 103.3 FM and worldwide at www.kpca.fm. And this is the Midnight Skeptic. The views of the Midnight Skeptic are not, repeat, not necessarily the views of KPCA or any of its affiliates. Okay, as I've said before, in my own small way, via this broadcast, which will be on YouTube later tonight, and on radio worldwide at kpca.fm after this Sunday. Okay? Um, and in my own small way, I'm helping to, I hope, rid this country of all MAGA heads, followers and worshipers of the orange sociopathic bloat bag, all Christian nationalists. They are, the more I learn about them, the more idiotic their beliefs are and how much of a danger they are. If we can vote out all Republicans, or enough Republicans, that the House of Representatives can be flipped to the Democratic control, Johnson, who is the Speaker of the House now, will be, voted out. He will not be the Speaker anymore. And the Speaker of the House is the next in line for the presidency after the Vice President. So, I'm having a brain freeze right now on who's the minority speaker, the more minority leader of the House of Representatives is. He's a congressman from New York. Oh, man, it'll come to me during the course of this show. Okay. And so here goes the shout-outs. Project Censored, as I've always lately have been leading off the show with. Go to their website, and their new book, The State of the Free Press 2025, is at the printers now. So if you want to order one of them, The State of the Free Press 2024. Okay, Mickey Huff, who I think has moved back to Ithaca, New York, to take up a new position at Ithaca College in their journalism and communications department. I'm not sure what his exact title is, but he is one of the guys, including geez. I'm doing the shout-outs without my notes. Nolan Higdon and Andy Lee Roth. All three of those, including Mickey Huff, are professors. Nolan Higdon is down at Cal State East Bay, down in Hayward. And Andy Lee Roth is at UC Santa Cruz. And the guy who started the Project Censored was a professor at Sonoma State, up here in Rohnert Park. Peter, oh man, sorry people, but I don't have my notes in front of me. But anyway, John Crowley at the Aquas Cafe has started up a community of people, artists, poets, musicians who perform there. And it's a very good place to hang out. And their food is of a light fare, but breakfast, lunch, and an early dinner. I think they close at 7. And Tom Gaffey down at the Phoenix Theater, downtown Petaluma, who has kind of made it a home for alternative teens and skateboarders and, alternative teens. He's sort of their godfather. And for a while, I operated a 3-day-a-week tutoring center for these kids. It didn't last all that long because, let's face it, they aren't really academically oriented. During that time, we, meaning my wife and I, we're running a private tutoring service out of our house, like right now, is where I'm broadcasting this from, our tutoring office. It's been converted into my downstairs bedroom. Okay. I want to jump ahead here and give a shout out to David Rubin in Raleigh, Durham, North Carolina. I hope you're ditching or surviving all of the rainstorms and hurricanes that are coming ashore there. But David Rubin is a retired pulmonary physician and retired employee of GlaxoSmithKline. He set up medical tests to see if whatever new drug they came up with has acceptably low side effects. And, that's what he did. Well, he's retired from them now and is pursuing a career in art, painting. And go to davidrubinpaintings.com and see some of his work. And he has a very unique take on reality, shall we say. Ralph Scott, who runs Squeaky Cheese Productions, LLC, he does readings of books. There's another word for it. Oh, this broadcast is not getting off to a good start. Audiobooks. Damn, that's what I'm looking for. Okay. Dave and Helen and down here locally, I'm doing all the local people now. Dave and Rosita Takach up in Sacramento, Kevin and Lori and Katati, Rich and Kathy Berger over in Sebastopol, and Dennis and Megan down in Tiburon, and Stan and Kathy down in Pacifica. Stan's a retired city attorney of Daly City. And Yvonne and Rick, I think they're still on their vacation, or maybe they're spending some time down in San Francisco, where they live, and attending plays and whatnot, and just living the good life. Further on down, Jackie, Aunt Jackie, and Samantha and her husband and little boy, and her sister Melanie, who now lives in Austin, Texas. And then over in Arizona, my brother Bran and his wife Mina, and their daughter, my niece Andrea, who's a nurse, and her husband Tim, who's a retired Marine. Booyah! And their three little boys who are in the thick of athletics right now. Tim is coaching their youth football team. And in Arkansas, Shannon Reed over to Florida. Nelson and Alice Lydell, he's a retired officer in the United States Public Health Service whose specialty was breathing apparatuses and face masks. Well, just in time for the resurrection of COVID-19, which is coming back in various forms. Kaiser is going to let me know when they have their new and improved vaccinations, and I will run down the block. It's about 6 blocks away. It's not a hospital, it's a clinic, and get my shot. Okay, which I encourage all of my listeners to do. Okay, and then still in Florida, Amelia Beamer, who is associated with Focus magazine, Focus. They are a reviewer of books from the 3 genres: science fiction, fantasy, and horror. And she's on YouTube, and she'll let you know which the titles of the books that Focus is going to review that issue, that month's issue. Okay, up to Long Island, Geraldine Goldfinger, and back over here on the West Coast, up to Sonora, the Sonora Gang, Robert Finnegan, Bob and Sandy Fisher, and their two children, Brad and Martha. Darrell Larson, Sonora High School's bronc riding graduate. Judy May, Kathy Francis, Lynn Quayle, and further up Highway 108 to Twainhart, John Gleason and his two daughters, wherever they're living now, Tiffany and Jennifer, and all the way down in Mexico City, Rosamalia Lopez Negrete. Okay. Real good news. The coming week, September 22nd through September 28th, is Banned Book Week. GOP MAGA heads and Moms for Liberty still want the right to dictate what school kids can read. Like I said before, I am going to be so glad after the November election when Moms for Liberty and organizations of that ilk will just fade into the woodwork and quit using these terms that like grooming, which they claim teachers are doing, or indoctrinating, which is what teachers they accuse of doing. And they're still in favor of having Bibles in the classrooms like they want in Oklahoma. That's not indoctrination. Okay. Mo good news. A North Dakota state judge overturned the state's near total ban on abortions on Thursday, September 12th. The state's constitution gives women a fundamental right to choose abortion before fetal viability, the judge ruled. Yay! But there are now no abortion clinics in North Dakota. The law against women's right to choose was passed by the GOP, Republican MAGA state legislature last year. The sole abortion clinic, the Red River Women's Clinic, moved from Fargo, North Dakota, to Moorhead, Minnesota in 2022. I believe that Moorhead is a town medium-sized that's right over the border between North Dakota and Minnesota. But anyway, good news for women in North Dakota. Good news. Okay. I was going to play some good news music. Let's see. Good news. I don't know. Is that sound effect good enough for good news? Okay. I've got laughter. I've got clapping. And I've got that sound I just played. And then the only other sound effect that I have is this. That's definitely not a good news sound. But so we'll have to just settle for Anyway, good news. Online apps like Flash Food and Too Good to Go help people get food from grocery stores and restaurants that would have been thrown away, but are still good to be eaten. Food waste is responsible for 6% of global carbon dioxide emissions. Just 2% of surplus food was donated in 2022. Most of that goes to food banks. And I believe that this app, Flash Food and Good to Go, also puts people in touch with which and where food banks are operating. Of course, the MAGA heads and GOP Republicans would be against this availability of donated food. Okay. Last week's show, I featured a couple of ridiculous questions that were submitted to Quora, Quora. They're an outfit that will answer your questions. Most of the questions revolve around World War II or the Civil War or World War I. And I'm a historian. Well, I consider myself a semi-historian. I went back to Sonoma State in 1999 through 2003 and for my master's degree in history. But most of the people who ask questions of Quora, are things like, is the Russian Su-28 superior to, I don't know, the British plane of the same class? Are the German Panzer tanks in World War II, were they better than British Centurion tanks? That's not my bailiwick. Okay. Now, I ran across this question. Oh, in addition to those historical and military questions, religious fundamentalists write in and ask stupid, ignorant things. Okay, now this is a verbatim question from somebody who is signed up with Quora. Okay, quote, if God isn't real, then how could something as big as the sun work? Question mark. Quotes. How do you answer a question like that? I need a sip of water after that. Okay. Bad news. Springfield, Ohio. Most of my listeners and watchers know what's going on there. I feel so bad for the town of Springfield, for the orange sociopathic bloat bags, deplorable followers using the scare tactics of bomb threats to what? I mean, what do they hope to accomplish insofar as they think about anything? Do they think this helps the orange sociopathic bloat bag get more voters? I don't understand, but who can understand a MAGA head? To the extent that they do think, I've said on previous shows that the orange sociopathic bloat bag, ever since he came on the scene, the worst segment of the American population, which I figure is, 10 to 15%, somewhere in there. Hillary Clinton called them deplorables, and I agree with her that 10 to 15%. There are more registered Republicans than that, but they're not all that deplorable. Okay. Ever since he came on the scene, the worst segment, blah, 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 have been unleashed. And in their minds, given permission to hate and take action on their hatred, which means sending letters full of white powder to election officials, to Democratic politicians, etc., etc. And Springfield, Ohio is feeling the brunt of this right now. And I'll get to the reason why in a moment. Bomb threats, blocking entrance to women's health clinics, invading and disrupting school board meetings, threatening with guns, LGBTQ events. All these were almost unknown, I say almost unknown, until the orange sociopathic bloat bag arrived, coming down the golden escalator, a respectable distance behind his rent-a-wife. And that's what kind of started all of the fresh waves of hate in this country. Okay, now, the posting online by this lady whose cat went missing is what started all this. The cat's name was Miss Sassy, and the lady in this house, I don't know, I can't remember what her name was, but she has some Haitian neighbors, and she posted that she suspected they might have kidnapped her cat and eaten it. And it blew up from there. And the orange sociopathic bloat bag and his little lapdog, Vancy, both will not apologize or take it back when they've been proven to be wrong. Anyway, Miss Sassy was found. I know all my watchers and listeners are breathing a sigh of relief, but the cat was found down in this lady's basement, okay? Will that be the end of it? No, I doubt it. It will be continued on and on and on. And the orange sociopathic bloat bag and his lapdog Vancy will find new things to pin on immigrants. Incidentally, the Haitians in Springfield, Ohio, were here or are there legally. And on a temporary basis, I don't know how long this temporary is, but they're here legally. Okay, new topic. Wonderful news. Hadley Duvall gave a brave and moving speech at the Democratic National Convention. She's now 22. She was raped by her stepfather beginning at age 5, and she became impregnated at age 12. Her mom was just this horrible, drug-addled non-mother. And she took a pregnancy test at age 12. I guess her stepfather went to the local drugstore and picked up a test, but it came back positive. And she didn't know about abortions. She didn't know what to do. She's 12 years old. But anyway, a couple of weeks later, she miscarried. And so she didn't have to go through, finding an abortion clinic. I don't know whether her stepfather, who's in prison now, incidentally, for a long, long time. Um, she, like I say, she's now 22 and has become a strong abortion rights advocate. I don't think. Okay, I didn't write down what state she lived in. Oh, maybe it was Ohio. But anyway, she would not have been able to get an abortion. Okay, the magazine, The American Conservative, says obliterating an unborn human does not make it right. The it meaning incest and rape, So, according to the American Conservative magazine, they would have her carry the fetus to term and give birth to her stepdad's child. That's what they think would be the right thing. Conservatives, Republicans, MAGA heads, Christian nationalists, they're all, I don't know. Is evil too strong a word to use? It probably is, but I think I'll use it anyway. This is a quickie bad news. 44 Republicans in the Senate voted against the right to an IVF act. IVF is in vitro fertilization. They're just against women. The Republicans' war against women continue unabated. How can a self-respecting woman vote for a Republican? Or even worse, the orange sociopathic bloat bag? Okay. Good news, Florida style, with some bad news. Amendment 4 on Florida's November ballot would prohibit any law that would, quote, penalize, prohibit, delay, or restrict abortion before viability, unquote. Governor Ron DeFascist is sending law enforcement personnel to the addresses of people who signed the petition to get Amendment 4 on the ballot. Voter intimidation, anybody? That's why I've nicknamed the governor Ron DeFascist. His future in politics is just over as soon as he's termed out of office or something. And Rick Scott, the senator who is up for re-election, the polls show him and his challenger, whose name I can't remember right now. They are neck and neck. Oh, come on, Florida. Vote. Rick Scott out of office. Okay, bad tax news. Are Jeff Bezos and Elon Musk not rich until they sell their stock holdings? Are unrealized gains not real? The Biden-Harris administration's 2025 budget would require households with more than $100 million in wealth to pay income taxes of at least 25% of their annual income, including their unrealized capital gains, gains in the value of assets that they have not yet sold. Republicans are just apoplectic over this. Unrealized capital gains, which are a primary source of income for many extremely wealthy households, are not just paper gains that do not constitute real income, though they meet a textbook definition of income. GOP and MAGA heads are, of course, against this. This is a Biden, Harris, and Democratic Party proposal. A tax on unrealized capital gains. Bernie Sanders and AOC are also pushing this idea. Okay. Bad news for our bodies. Thousands of chemicals can enter our bodies from food packaging. Of 14,000 known chemicals in food packaging, roughly 25% have been found in the human body. Shrink wrap, take out containers, and plastic bottles filled with water or soft drinks are just a few of the sources that leak these chemicals into our bodies. A finding published in this is a real journal. I had not heard of it until I saw this. This finding was published in the Journal of Exposure Science and Environmental Epidemiology. Whew. Okay. They studied over 1,800 food contact chemicals, or FCCs. Not all individual chemicals have been tested. It takes a lot of time and money. But of those that have been tested, many are hazardous and toxic and, dare I say, carcinogenic. The FDA should get off its duff and hire more chemists to analyze which are bad for us. I don't think there's any that are good for us, and should be banned from the food chain. Of course, the GOP MAGA heads would never go for something like that. Spending more money on chemists? What do anyway? They don't contribute to profits. Okay. A short bit of good news. P. Diddy was denied bail by a federal judge in New York. He is awaiting court dates in jail. His attorney said P. Diddy did not have plans to flee. Oh, well, why can't you believe P. Diddy? Oh, he won't flee. Okay, enough of that. Real good news. Kentucky Governor Andy Beshear has signed an executive order protecting minors from conversion therapy. Yay! Conversion therapy is one of these Christian outfits or practices that will, they believe, pray the gay away, as if being gay is something you should want to get rid of. You don't want to be gay. Well. And, there's about roughly 7% of the population in the United States is members of the LGBTQ plus community. And of that 7%, 0.8, in other words, 0.8% are the T, trans youth. And this has Republicans underwear all in a knot, and they're passing all sorts of laws prohibiting doctors from providing care for trans youth. And there's a relative of mine that when I mentioned that I was all for care, medical care for trans youth, he said, "That's mutilation." In other words, he listens to Fox News a lot. It's not mutilation. The word care means everything from talking to your family doctor, talking to a child psychologist, talking to a psychiatrist, having puberty blockers, but it's not, at least until the age of 18, sex reassignment surgery. Nobody does that. And I'm not saying that it has never been done. There might have been a few, bribed and sneaky surgeons who have done it, but no clinic that deals with transgender youth will do it. It's just not done. Okay. Good news. Although the Teamsters International Brotherhood declined to endorse either presidential candidate, the Western Conference of Teamsters, of which I am a proud member, they endorsed Kamala Harris and Tim Walz. They include all the Western states in the United States. That's the Western Conference. I guess each of the various conferences within the Teamsters are free to go their own way, or maybe they're just openly defying the International Brotherhood. I don't know the politics of the Teamsters. The American Federation of Teachers and the United Auto Workers and other unions have all endorsed Kamala and Tim. That deserves an applause. Okay. In all future programs, beginning with this one, I am designating pregnant women who need to have abortions for health reasons, but are in GOP MAGA-head controlled states, survivors if they live, and victims of GOP MAGA policies if they die. and there have been a number of them, such as the two women in Georgia. Candy Miller, who's 41, had lupus, diabetes, and hypertension, and got pregnant accidentally. She took online abortion pills, but the fetal tissue remained in her uterus, which would cause sepsis. She needed a DNC, which stands for dilation and curettage procedure. But in Republican-controlled Georgia, DNC is now a felony. She stayed home, afraid to go to a doctor, and she passed away at home, and she has 3 other kids. There are a lot of stories like this, and screw the Republicans for causing their deaths, and screw the pro-life movement. They aren't pro-life, they're just dicks. Okay. Amber Thurman, 28, age 28, languished in an Atlanta hospital needing a DNC, dilation and curettage, for 20 hours before doctors performed the DNC because they're fraidy cats. They'll get prosecuted in Georgia. It was too late, of course, and she died. And Kamala Harris said, quote, "This is exactly what we feared when Roe was struck down. Thank you, conservative Supreme Court justices. Jerks, dicks." Amber Thurman and plenty of others are victims of so-called pro-life, conservative Christian extremism that are all mainly in the orange sociopathic bloat bags corner. There's a blank, 2 inches of my notes, blank page. I was trying to find a little bit of good news to end the show with, like I always try to do, but I wanted to get this out there, and so I was not able to find one. Good news: the Fed has decreased the federal lending rate by 1/2 point, and the stock market responded today with new highs. And so mortgage rates on housing loans will start coming down. I won't say drastically, because we may have another 1/4 point reduction coming up in November when the Fed meets again. But real good news for consumers and house buyers. Okay, I'm going to play my out music. You have been listening to The Midnight Skeptic on KPCA LP, Petaluma, California. And we're at 103.3 on the FM dial and worldwide at www.kpca.fm. Support community radio at patreon.com/Petaluma Community Access. And remember, think critically, think logically, but live joyously, and most importantly, pet your cats. Okay, I can't emphasize this enough. pet your cats. And if you have some wine, sip wine slowly and responsibly. Don't be anti-science like Christians are and the Republican Party is. Science is not a collection of proven true facts. Science is a process by finding out how this universe works, how life came about on this planet, and it changes along with the rules of evolution, and it's open to change and modification when new findings and observations are done. Okay? So I'm going to do this again next week, and I will have better notes and, in fact, my shout outs and, my written out reasons for why I'm even doing this will be better. I promise you. So, that's it for this week. I will be back again next week. Like I say, this is going out kpca.fm on Sunday the 22nd. The next one will be Sunday the 29th of September. Okay. Enjoy the beginning of fall, which begins this Sunday the 22nd. All right? So I will see you all next week.